Hello everyone, welcome to I Would Not, Could Not Run. And as Andrew says, we are continuing the vital business of getting the world running. It's a podcast for people who run, but especially for those who think they can't run or couldn't before they started because they're too lazy, too fat, too old. You're not. If you're a human being, you can run and you can be a runner. And me and Andrew are living proof of that. And Andrew Tudbury, my erstwhile friend and fellow presenter, joins us. Andrew, how are you? How's your running been?
Hello, Oliver. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Yes, I'm a few weeks back into my regular 3 10Ks a week schedule. I'm not completely pain-free from my tedious foot injury.
It goes on and on.
A few months, but I'm not completely pain-free. And I've lost a bit of fitness, which is really easy to be angry about. But then I kind of remember to relax and be grateful that I'm one of the lucky people who gets to run 3 10Ks a week, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, again, and that's the thing. There's not much luck, really. If you want to do it, you can do it. And that's good. Oh, well, that's good. Glad you're getting better. I've been obviously sniffing around on Strava, seeing the lengths of your time on feet get longer, and the time is good. We spoke about our race, our 10K that we did, and you accompanied me round at your slow speed, which enabled you to be able to talk virtually the whole way round, which was adorable. We are now training for another 10K, which is on the 11th of April, which is just a couple of weeks away. And so that's my news. Everything going fine.
So are you planning to knock a minute off your pace again? So every 10K race you do, you seem to knock a minute off. So you'll be running at 6-minute kilometres, 5-minute kilometres, 4-minute kilometres, 3 minutes.
Oh, right. No, I won't be doing.
Because I won't be joining you on those runs, Oliver. You'll be off.
I did sit. Yeah, what is it? 17 seconds over an hour. So 60 minutes, 17 seconds for 10K, which of course I was absolutely thrilled with. But I haven't been as fast as that still yet. Since, if I get the right preposition, if that's the right type of, I haven't done as good as that since. So I'm not that hopeful, but I'm going to try and do that thing, which is just enjoy it. But then you get out on the track and you get all competitive, and my wife whizzes off. Let's see how that goes. The other bit of news is we talk about Louise, who's my wife, who's actually can run properly, and she's got herself a coach. And what she's going through is going to be really prescient to the subject of this podcast, because she's a natural athlete and is about 5'10" and weighs about 9.5 stone and can run the park run in like 24 minutes, which makes her 80% age graded, which is almost national standard. Now that she's being beasted by this coach, she's coming home broken and suffering, and I've never seen her like it, and it's really interesting. So the subject, I think we could introduce the subject, isn't it? It's about well, if you've seen the title, The Joy of Suffering, which sounds a little bit paradoxical. But we are going to be talking about this thing about, look, if you're going to run, you are going to be uncomfortable at times. And sometimes you might be very uncomfortable if you want to improve. How do you cope with that? Or can you enjoy it in a strange masochistic way? And Louise is a very interesting case because she's not used to suffering because she's got natural talent. So when she starts suffering, she doesn't like it, and she comes back all red-faced and cross, with her hair all a mess, and going, "Well, I hate this." So that's the subject, and you picked up on that subject, Andrew, and we found. Well, I think you should introduce our guest because it's quite. He should have a few things to say on this, I'm hoping.
Yeah. So we have. We also have a guest with us. And before we get too lost in the theme, it's probably a good time to introduce Adam and then hop back to the theme a little bit. So Adam was one of my clients about 12 years ago, back when I was a management consultant, and we worked together. I did some fun things, and then some time passed, and I think Adam noticed one of the LinkedIn posts I'd done on running. Not that I do many, just do a few. And he heard about the podcast and listened to the podcast, and got back running. And I think we exchanged a few messages, and it's wonderful that the podcast, first of all, is getting listened to, and secondly, is inspiring people to run. So Adam agreed to come along and talk to us about how he got back to running and what his running journey has been. So, hello, Adam. How are you?
Hello, Andrew. Yeah, good to see you again after many years, and very good to meet Oliver as well, having listened to you both over the last 10 or 12 episodes of your podcast. It's quite interesting to be on one.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fabulous. Sorry, Andrew. It's fabulous, Adam, that someone has actually connected somehow, reconnected with Andrew, and has been inspired. I mean, that is the reason for doing it. I mean, hanging out with Andrew is always fun, obviously, but to get someone to actually do something material as a result of our ramblings, fantastic. Lovely to have you here.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's many others as well, but it's good to be here.
So what I thought we could do is just go back to the theme a little bit, and then we can ask Adam a little bit more about his journey running, and sort of how he got into running, how he started, stopped, and became Olympic, whatever. So coming back to the theme, did you? So Oliver, you came across this article in Runner's World, didn't you? Which was about obviously there is suffering with running, but there are some ways that we might deal with this mentally. And that was the title of the article, really, how to mentally deal with discomfort while running. And I was sort of realising that as runners, we probably all do that, actually. So did that resonate with you, that article? Or were you already thinking about the theme because of Louise, or both?
It resonated with me in the article because most runs I have a period within that run. Sometimes it's 30 seconds, sometimes it's 90% of the run, where I think, what the F am I doing here? We have cars now, we have bikes now, and we have Just Eat now. There's no need to do this. Oh, actually, not only that, it's really horrible. I can hardly breathe. My muscles are aching. I'm nearly 60. You're a freaking idiot. Why are you doing this? And this happened on the park run on Saturday, and it happens virtually every run. So I think, what am I going to do? What do the best people do to get over this? Because there's a masochistic element to it. In that, if I can stand this pain, I'm mentally strong. But then the other voice in my head is going, you do realise you don't have to do this, and if you stop, you'd start to feel better really, really quite quickly. Yeah. That's why it resonated with me, and it was very nice to know that all runners have this at some point. And Keely Hodgkinson, the goddess of running at the moment, 800 metre world indoor champion, etc. My favourite quote of hers is, let's face it, running's pretty horrible. She said something like that, and yes, it is. So it totally resonated with me. I wanted to also to be one of those runners, and we talked to Paul Tonkinson about this, who gets into a sort of zen-like state, and you're not suffering, you're not thinking, you're not doing anything except running, and you are of the run. And I think that feeling has happened to me twice in my life. Once when I was training for the first 10K, and 1K of it was just floating, between kilometres 8 and 9, and I was like, I've cracked it. Obviously, the race was hell. Thank you very much for putting the drip on me at kilometre 8. So it's an ongoing quest. So yeah, I know I found it fascinating. What made you want to make it a whole theme of an episode?
Yeah. Well, it resonated with me because I thought, well, of course, all runners will be experiencing this, and for me, I do my run and my body starts to feel bad, and I sort of have this little inner conversation which goes, I feel bad now, why are we doing this? And I say back to my body, but how bad is it really? And my body says, well, actually, it's not that bad. And then I'll say, well, we'll just keep going for now. And, the body grumble.
That's right.
And that's, but when you actually say, but how bad is it? Your body says, it's not that bad. But there's this, so some people call it the underwater feeling, where you're almost feeling like you're starting to drown. But then when you examine it, it sort of disappears a little bit. it's a strange thing. So, we can use also use emotions to sort of hype ourselves up a bit. So if you're feeling terrible, I sometimes try to feel more competitive. So I'll see someone running in the distance, and I think, right, I'm going to chase them down, and something interesting happens there as well. So the suffering starts to disappear, and you get this boost of something or other. Because you're going to chase someone down. It's a strange thing.
Yeah, the other thing is, look how you feel in the last kilometre. You feel so much better in the last kilometre. So hang on, there's nothing different about my body or what I'm doing here in the last kilometre. There's something going on in my mind. Okay, if there's something going on in my mind, I can make that thing that's going on in my mind in the last kilometre the thing that's going on in kilometre 6. That sometimes helps as well. And also this idea of meta thinking, which is thinking about your thinking. So why am I thinking like I'm thinking? And what can I do to stop thinking like I'm thinking, which sounds like it's up its own backside, but it actually is quite interesting. It's sort of like you were starting to talk about there, Andrew, is thinking about what this feeling is. Is this feeling I'm going to die? We all joke about, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Is this feeling something I can cope with for the next minute? Well, yes, it is. Okay, let's do that and then see what happens. And lo and behold, in the next minute, something's happened. It's got worse, it's got better, or you're thinking about, the vapor trail of the aeroplane you can see in the sky, or something else. You've been distracted, which is another technique.
So the article, it had a strapline in this pain performance article that said, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, which is interesting idea. So the idea seems to be that we have choices over how we respond to suffering, and the sort of standard natural reaction is to overthink and overcontrol our pain response, and your body complains about how bad it all is. And the article says, have a curious attitude to the pain and not get swept up by these panicky feelings. Focus on what you're feeling in the moment, and this seems to have a calming effect. And I'd never looked at it like that, but I think that's a bit like what I think I'm doing. I'm saying, but things feel terrible. But let's just have a look at that and how bad are they? So it's an interesting idea, actually. That did put me in mind of some books that I read back in the 90s, end of the 90s, by a guy called Tim Galway, who wrote these books called The Inner Game. And there's a bit of a story here. I'll try and sort of tell it fairly quickly. But Tim Galway was a coach back in the 70s who noticed that quite often the more instruction that he gave to his players, the worse they got. So rather than try and hit the ball in, he said, just hit the ball anywhere and just notice if there's tension in your shoulder and score this on a score 1 to 10. And more often than not, he noticed that the player's performance improved. So how can that be? So Tim had an insight, I think, that his criticism and his instruction was making players worse because they were over-controlling their movements through sort of anxiety and stress, and the movements became awkward and unnatural. So by giving the instructing, judging part of us something else to do, which was to score tension in your shoulder, the sort of doing part of us gets on with the job of doing what it can already do, which is sort of freer from interference. And I think a similar thing with suffering and running might be going on. So when we're feel suffering, when we're running, the stakes have got high, and the judging, instructing part of us wants to intervene to protect us and to take control, and that plays tricks, and it makes us feel worse than we really are. It discourages us from running further than we've run before, perhaps, and it might even change our speed and sort of running gait, and ultimately even stop. So I think, I think Tim Galway stumbled on almost like a form of Zen practice, which has been around for sort of thousands of years, actually, where we stop trying to over control the running and just run, essentially. So what can we do with all of this, and not try and stop these sort of different mind processes happening because they're baked into being human, but we can be more aware of them, and we can choose how we respond to them differently. And one technique I sort of came across in one of the running books, I can't remember which one it was, it might have even been Born to Run, was to have a mantra which is a tiny simple phrase which you repeat, something like quick light feet or smooth strong relaxed or love the grind or something like that, and that gives you a positive message in your head but also distracts part of your mind that's trying to intervene with doing something verbal, and apparently that works really well actually.
Wow.
So yeah, that's my little story about how to link the running pain thing with Tim Galway's in the game books, which are fantastic reads anyway, but that sort of feels right to me.
I agree with you. You've quoted this book a lot in our conversations before we started the podcast, and I do see the link. Yeah, absolutely. No, that was the mantra, though. Woke nonsense, Andrew. Woke nonsense. I can't be doing the mantra. No, maybe I'll try it. Do you know what I did try? I did try. So my runner, RUNNA, my schedule for put together. It's software that puts together a schedule for your run. It told me to run at conversational pace, which I guess is zone 2 or whatever. And so what I do is pretend my wife is running with me, which is generally awful because she's talking and I don't like talking when I can't breathe, like a human. And I will talk to myself as saying, "Oh, this feels like conversational pace. Oh, yeah, no, that's quite pleasant," and try and amuse myself with my own thoughts. And actually, that maybe is a kind of mantra. I feel like we should really bring Adam in.
Yes, absolutely. So that was a little bit of a distraction there with the whole Tim Galway thing, but I think that was relevant. But let's bring Adam back into the conversation. So Adam, in terms of rewinding a bit, I mean, have you always been a runner then? So were you one of these ultra fit people at school, or how did it all start for you?
Definitely not. I played a bit of rugby at school, played cricket at school, avoided any kind of running in the way of athletics or cross country. Cross country was an excuse to go and have a cigarette under the bridge, and then join up with the rest of them later. When I left school, which was quite early, at 16, I became a very committed smoker and a very enthusiastic drinker, and exercise just didn't factor in my life until about 40 years later. I think it was 55 when I started running.
Oh, okay. Right.
So very, very, so it's gone from nothing to running, 2017. And I was just looking back through my park run. My first park run was March 2017. So I would have started a little bit before. I would have started before that.
Very similar to when I started, actually, 2018. I thought, because I think your running frame is slightly more elegant than mine, so I'm definitely more in the large bison
tall and skinny
area.
Tall and skinny.
Yeah, so I thought, having thought, having talked to you, I thought, well, of course, Adam's been running since he was 13 and was a national cross country champion. But
no, this is a very recent thing.
All right. How did you? So why running? And did you follow the Couch to 5K route, or
no,
how
not
did
at
you
all. So my wife had started running, and I remember her coming back one time and she said, "I've just run 8 kilometres," and I thought, well, that's bonkers. How can anyone run 8 kilometres? That's a bus ride. That's completely unnecessary. And she said, "Come out." And I did start to go out and run around the park a little bit with her, but I couldn't. I think I did about 2 or 3 park runs before I completed one. So I would just collapse on the side somewhere, and she would carry on.
Right. But you did well. I mean, many people, me included, tried to start running and felt discouraged because we had to stop. And I've said in previous podcasts that I found that very discouraging. So if you did the park run but couldn't complete it, but you still had the presence of mind to keep persevering with it, essentially.
Well, I think I wanted to do at least 8 kilometres because my wife had done 8 kilometres, and if I probably at that time my mind was, if I can get up to 8 kilometres I can stop, because soon after that she did stop, but that was due to an injury at a kickboxing session, and she twisted her ankle and has never been able to run successfully since.
Oh no, that's terrible.
So that was a kind of a goal that I wanted to at least do what Rachel had done, and then it. Once the other thing is I'm a fairly addictive person, and once you get into parkrun, it's all about chasing the numbers, isn't it? Whether it's personal best, and for many weeks, almost every week I'd get a personal best, even by a couple of seconds. It was great. So that was
amazing.
a very encouraging thing. And then you get your 25 or whatever it is, your 25, 50. You get a red T-shirt at 50, and then it all becomes slightly addictive. And I'm sort of trying to collect these things.
How many have you got? Do you know then? How many park runs have you done?
I've got 111 now. 2 weeks ago was my 111th, which I did in Cornwall in Penrose Estate.
Congratulations. What kind of is it rude to ask another fellow what time they do? I think it probably is, but I'm going to anyway. What kind of time are you doing now, Adam?
So that was 26:09.
Oh, that's tasty. That's tasty.
That's my second foreign park run. My first foreign park run was 4 or so years ago in Warwick, and that was 26:09. So my two foreign ones have been at the exact same time.
Oh, that's a nice time. I have to declare a PB on Saturday for me, and you are so right, Adam. It's ridiculous. I guess you're the same generation-ish as me and Andrew, and I'm like absolutely over the moon for a week and have to tell everybody. So not as fast as you, but I'll declare the 20. What did you say there? Yes, 28:44. 28:44. So
my first park run was 34. I looked it up before this. It was 34 and a half minutes, I think. My first.
No, I was 37. 37 minutes to get 106 kilograms.
And my fastest is 24.
Oh, I thought that 26 was your fastest. 25. That's tasty. That's nice.
But that was at the peak of my running, which
powers.
It would be 2019, I suppose. COVID was my most kilometres in a year, and then
we all had so much more time then, didn't we? Back in those days,
21. I got so we're talking about injury and pain and things. I got plantar fasciitis in
another one.
2021, and that's kind of took me out because I couldn't run. I literally couldn't run. I could walk fine, but I could not run. And I don't.
How did you get rid of it, Adam? By the way, did you just stop running, or how did you?
I stopped running and didn't run. So I've got a fallow period in park run that's about 2 years, and it's been sporadic since then. But I just couldn't. I really couldn't run. And that
answered my next question. Sorry, I'll let you go.
At the same time, I've got a dog, and when you've got a dog, you walk. So my outdoor activity was walking rather than running. So So that's
so. 20. I was going to ask whether you'd ceased at some point, and I thought you had, and I was going to ask why that was, and it sounds like it's the dreaded PF.
It was dreaded PF, and that really was debilitating. And I've got a little.
Do you know what you did?
I'm hoping is not going to turn. My right heel has got a bit of pain at the moment. I'm just hoping that doesn't turn in. Just as I've got back into running, the last thing I want to do is try and either run through a pain or just give up because of the pain.
Yeah, sure. Do you know what you did that caused it, or was it just running? I mean, because you might have tried to. Just running,
Yeah, I am the world's worst. In those days, I didn't warm up properly. I didn't stretch afterwards. I now warm up better. I'm still not stretching afterwards, but I do cool down a bit. Listening to this is all about your podcast, really, because I was, kind of accepting the fact that it is important to do a proper warm up and it is important to do a cool down and maybe some stretching, but I don't think I'll ever stretch. But also hydration. I don't think I was ever hydrating properly.
It makes a huge difference.
It got to me. I was in the middle of a long run. I think I was about 12k into a 15 or so K run, and I'd stopped at a crossroads or something, and I just couldn't start again. So I had the 3k walk of shame back home, and then didn't run for at least 9 months. It was it was a long time out.
Was it the pain, or did you just freak out that you had to stop?
It was the pain initially, but then once you've stopped, and Andrew's already intimated on this call, the losing the fitness, it happened so quickly, and I've gone from the peak of my fitness in my entire life, because I've been running half marathons all through to 2020. I was doing the long run the week before. I was going to really make a play for my PB on a park run, and at the time I was running timed 5Ks at sort of 23K. So I was very confident that I was going to smash my park run.
Ah,
It was perfect. All the conditions, everything was perfect for this. And then, it stopped. I'm sure I must have felt the pain before, but then it just, that last run, it
Did something.
feel the
Yeah.
pain. But as soon as I stopped running, I couldn't start again. I physically could not start to run.
Yeah.
It was
So you got to half marathon distance, sort of 23k-ish.
Yeah, 2020 I did about 8, because the very last thing I did before COVID was the London Big Half, which was about 2 weeks before COVID shut down. So 30,000 people all standing in very close proximity.
Yes. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah.
yeah. I think I caught COVID at White Hart Lane in similar circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was
yeah.
I trained for that. So I'd done a training one in January, I did one in February. And I was signed up for I did the Big Half, and then I'd signed up to the Cheltenham Half and the Royal Parks Half. So
They're great, aren't they? I mean, the halves are, in some ways, they're less stressful in some ways than a 5k. You know, with a 5k, that's where you get some serious suffering in a way, because you're running at in a suburb, anaerobic, close tempo, high tempo, really, quite a lot of suffering. But with a half, you can just just have permission to go quite slowly, or that's how I
yeah,
see it anyway. Yeah.
yes, I do have a problem that I can't really run slowly. I find it very difficult. My kind of natural gait seems to be about 5.5 minutes a kilometre.
Is that just the way you're engineered, or is it because you're desperate to get it over with, or is it just because
That's the way I'm engineered. I've got long legs and
right? How tall are you?
6'1".
Yeah, oh, right. God, we're all about the same height. In fact, gosh, we're all similar. It's not the most diverse podcast on the roster, I'll have to say. But anyway, who cares? We've all got stories.
Yeah.
What about what are your thoughts, actually, Adam, on this thing that we were talking about before, and let's call it ordinary suffering, not the old plantar fasciitis suffering, but the ordinary suffering that we and Keely Hodgkinson and every runner go through. How do you get around that? Because I was thinking of one other thing that helps me sometimes, and from someone who used to suffer from anxiety a little bit, to the point where it was sort of slightly encroaching on my world, and to get through a period of anxiety, you've got to actually be quite strong, and you've got to sort of not give up. And when I'm suffering during a run, I remember those times, and I think, oh, hang on a minute, this is quite good training. Going through discomfort that you can run away from, which is what you feel like you're doing when you're in an anxious state, of course. Actually, not doing that is probably good training for my mind to make me a bit more resilient if I ever suffered in that way again. So that's sort of almost like a mind trick. But everybody treats it very differently. I don't know. I mean, some just sort of raw dog it and say, "Well, I don't know. I like this pain. I'm just going to go through it." And my brother's a bit like that. But what are your techniques, tips?
So I'm not sure that I have that much pain when I'm running, but the suffering side of it, if I feel I'm not going to do what I set out to do, I either start counting or I start doing miles to kilometre calculations in my head, just to try and just stuff like that will take my mind off it. But counting up to 100 and then starting again.
Yeah, I've done that. I forgot about that. Yeah. Count 1, 2, 3, and it's every. I tend to count 3 steps, because that's roughly a second. If you're running,
shouldn't it? Yeah, 180
because you're running roughly 180, 170 beats per minute. Yeah, so I run step 1, step 2. It's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
I do every right foot or every left foot, whatever, whichever I've started on, but and that I consider to be 2 yards or 2 meters, and therefore at 100 I'll have clocked off.
So do you find?
I see. So you're ticking off the meters. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those nice surprise, because my stride is longer than a kilometre, longer than a metre.
Kilometre.
Wow.
More than a metre. So therefore, if I count to 100, I've actually done 220 metres. So
I might try that this afternoon. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually quite good. I do like the kilometre to miles conversion because I like numbers and I like stats. I've created an app. Oh, Andrew, I'll have to show you when I see you. It's unbelievable. Claude, you just create an app just like that. And
Goodness. Yeah.
so, yeah, I can start thinking, well, hang on. If I'm doing this fast and that fast, how fast could I theoretically do an ultra? That'd be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Could I do the backyard ultra? How many laps with backyard ultra could I possibly do? Probably a marathon's worth. And that gets you through a kilometre or two.
And then before you know it, you've done another kilometre and you're feeling better about yourself and it's all good.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I guess that would be distraction, cognitive distraction. Very nice. Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, well, I was just saying. So the cognitive distraction, which is the effect of parkrun, because there's that element of competitiveness in that you're running with other people, doing the same 5K as you, and there's a clock, and people are, running for a time. So I found that I was always able to give more on a park run than I could if I was just trying to, do 5K round the local lake. And same thing at the local running club. So back on a Tuesday night when I was, down at the local track doing sort of VO2 max training, which is horrible. That's essentially max heart rate training, which is not great. But it always felt better if you're doing it with other people and you're trying to catch up with some pack or you're trying to lose a pack, and that level of competitiveness and sort of structure.
And togetherness as well, Andrew, I think. It's community. Yeah. Our park run is in a fairly rough area of North Kent, Medway. And it's just wonderful. 450 people, all ages, weights, strange levels of strangeness. Strange people do park run. I love that. And it's part of being part of this team that's doing this thing on a Saturday. We're all going to run 5K. We're all going to say, there's a guy who did it in 16 minutes. On Saturday, and then some people waddling over after it. I shouldn't say waddling over, we'll have to cut that bit. What's the matter with me? Body shaming. Some people walking quite slowly, commensurate with their body shape, after about an hour. And it's just lovely all together. And so you're right, there is a competitive. If I get past someone who looks around my age, it feels fantastic. I feel like Sepco. Yeah. But mostly what I find at the Great Lions Park Run is if you overtake someone, you'll often get someone go, nice one, mate. And just how lovely is that? Congratulations for being faster than me. And I love that community spirit about the park run. And like you say, Adam, it's totally addictive. I think I've done 59 now, a long way behind you. But I'm quite proud of it. I'm proud of my red 50 T-shirt. I think it's one of the greatest things I've ever done park run, and saving the NHS billions they calculate, don't they? Yeah,
no, totally. I think I've done about 5 park runs, so I'm hundreds and hundreds of park runs behind you guys. But it just doesn't quite fit in with my schedule because I run with
that's such a runner thing to say. Can I just say it doesn't quite fit in my running schedule? Yeah. After a while, I never thought I'd get a bit antsy if I didn't get my run in. It's absolutely complete anathema to how I functioned as a human being up until 2 years ago. I'm just coming up to my 2 years anniversary, and if this podcast goes on too long. And by the way, I'm not saying we should cut it, but if it goes on too long, I'll start getting a little bit twitchy and looking outside, seeing if it's raining. It's just, I can't tell you how unlike, well, Andrew, you know, because you know how unlike that is. The idea
I knew we'd really win. Oliver.
Andrew, it's all down to you. I mean, people have been saying, I can't believe you're running, who've known me for a long time. And I said, it's this guy, Andrew. You've sort of reached mythical status, Andrew. Some people believe you don't exist. And you're just some book I've read.
I may not exist. Maybe I'm a chatbot or something. Could be.
You're Andrew GPT. So I've introduced you to a few of them, and they're like, when they actually meet you, they're like, oh, he's just a bloke who runs.
It's a bit of a disappointment. Yeah. So moving on a little bit. Yeah. So Adam has restarted his running, and I just wonder where you are now at the moment, Adam. So you're back running again. You've got a slightly sore heel. For the love of God, let's hope that doesn't flare up. Have you got any plans to get faster, run longer, or are you happy just to keep running as you are?
Kind of happy plodding along. So I picked it up again in October, and I did couch to 5K in October because previously I tried to start running again and just set off at my that's the speed I used to run, that's the speed I'm going to run, and then it didn't work very well, and I could get 1.5K or something. So I thought, this time I'm going to start beginning of October, and I'm just going to do couch to 5K. And I followed the full 9 weeks, and I did it as they told me to. And by the end of it, it's fine. 5K was no problem at all. So for people, anyone that's going to start running or is getting back into running, couch to 5K. You don't look.
It's very gentle.
Walking. If you're walking a bit, it's fine. Just you're doing something good, and it will improve. It will increase the success rate of getting back into running. Absolutely.
We completely agree. By the way, top tip for if you're walking, I've learned this. I told you I got my Garmin finally, Andrew. I got given it as a present by Freddie.
Still can't believe that, but
and I've started to love it, data and everything. So what you do, if you're running, you constantly look at your Garmin so that people know that you're doing intervals. Even if you're not doing intervals, you just go, you look at your Garmin, nod, like you're on schedule, and that's how you get away with it. So that's my top
So this
tip
is my slow bit, and obviously I will speed up, but this is just the slow bit, You go, you nod, and you're doing 13-minute kilometers, and it's fine.
Yeah, look at your Garmin and smile. Ah, good. Yeah. I've done it. That was
exactly
last kilometre was 10.5 minutes.
Coming to a walk, I look at my watch. And,
nice one.
But what I'm
Brilliant.
doing is I'm trying to do zoning, and because that was something you mentioned a couple of podcasts ago, Andrew.
Okay. Yep.
And so I'm trying to do that. So instead of I seem to run, my heartbeat is way above what my maximum should be when I'm running. So now I'm trying to bring it down.
Well, that's good in a way. So if you have trained yourself so that your heart rate is high for your age, if you're doing the sort of 220 minus your age, if you have a high heart rate, and assuming there's no underlying health concerns, having a high heart rate. So my wife's heart rate is, she has a heart rate in the 180s when she's running hard.
Yes.
Which is high.
That's where mine's going. But also at rest, it's down to, at the moment, it's 55, 56 or something. So
that's great.
It's quite a massive thing. So what I'm trying at the moment just to do 150s. 150 and below is mine at the moment. And that's why if anyone does look at me on Strava, I've gone from fairly quick runs to really quite slow ones.
That is fun, isn't it? When you do a slow run, you think, I really don't want the world to know about this. Yeah. And then you go, for God's sake, get your ego in check and just put it out there. Louise is like this. So because she's training, her trainer is saying, don't do a park run at full speed. And she's saying, well, I'm not going to let Brenda beat me. She's so old. Her competitors in her age group are people like called Brenda and Doris. She's so old. And she's like, well, I'm not going to let that cow beat me. And I'm like, Louise, come on. It's not. Well, it'll be on my Strava. It'll pull my averages down. And she doesn't even like numbers. I don't even think she knows the difference between median and mode. And yet she's worried about what people think of her on Strava. And it's difficult to help. It's like, I did a slow one on Saturday because I'm training for something. Just remind me what zoning is, because people might have forgotten. And I sort of had. I think zoning, Adam, what you're meaning is running to a heart rate.
Right.
Sort of
so they're the 5 heart zones. I mean, obviously, there are different scientific views on this, but I think most people use the 5 zones, zone 1 to 5, and zone 1 is sort of warm up. Zone 2 is your slow run pace. I think zone 3 is tempo. Zone 4 is lactate threshold up to threshold, and then zone 5 is maximum. I am about to explode pace, and zone 5 is where you'd be if you're doing a PB 5K, you'd end up tipping into zone 5, and you've changed fueling systems, as we've talked about on the podcast before, from aerobic to anaerobic as you move from 4 to 5, and then you're on the clock because you're burning glycogen, and you've got, depending on who you are, you've got somewhere between half an hour and an hour before you explode, and you have no sugar left. Which is why it's great to run slow, because you train your aerobic system, which is not burning oxygen and sugar, it's burning fat. So that's
right.
which is why zone 2 training is great, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating running zone 2. So you almost have to. It's actually great mental training to not be too competitive about it, and just to be quite zen about it, and just to take it as very meditative. Don't run by pace, run by heart rate, and enjoy the birdies and enjoy the rain if it's raining, enjoy the sun if it's sunny, whatever.
So I don't think it would be possible for me to run in zone 2. So I think I'm in zone 3 or maybe even zone 5. I haven't quite worked it out.
Well, Adam, without being critical of a guest, I mean, it will be, won't it? It will be possible for you to run in zone 2. You may not like it. You may not like it, but it is possible. So you might, it's obviously we're all individuals, but it might be worth just seeing. I mean, zone 2 for you, because you're a fit, healthy chap who's the right weight. Zone 2 for you is still going to be a fair old clip. So for me, I mean, zone 2. So my all day sort of marathon pace at the moment is around 6:30 kilometres, and that's not a bad little tick. You can tick along at 6:30. I mean, you for you it might be 6. And that is running. I think when you transition, get towards 6-minute kilometres, that's I think the watershed where it stops feeling like you're flopping along and it starts to feel like you are actually running. So I don't know. I mean, if that might be something to think about. Because zone 2 training is probably worth doing a few runs at zone 2 and just make sure that you're not teaching your body to leap straight into lactate threshold, and you can broaden your aerobic bandwidth by slow running, even if it is it can be quite frustrating. I have to tell myself that, because I often try to run too hard and it just tips my heart rate up too high.
Yeah. Well, this morning it was 6:20 kilometres, and was keeping it at 150, keeping my heart rate at 150, which is high. So dropping down to zone 2, I think I'd probably still be out there now if I'd done the same run.
6:20 is not nothing.
Well, that may be.
How did it feel, Adam? How did you feel? Did you feel I can run this all day because I'm at 150?
Yeah, absolutely. That was fine.
But that's nice in itself. I mean, I've never had a run like that. I mean, I'm behind you guys. I'm 2 years in, nearly to the day, and I feel like you. Zone 2, I'd be actually almost going backwards. So I've never had that run where I feel I could go on forever. Maybe I should try that, because that is a pleasant thing, isn't it? What is it? Is it because we're men that we go out and we have to run really, really fast, or is it because that's what you would do when you were hunting down a gazelle? It's odd, isn't it, that you get out there and you think, right, what are they going to think on Strava? What are my Strava followers going to think if I don't put 100% into this?
Yeah.
It's strange, isn't it, that we're all feeling it.
It's social competitive. It's just competitiveness is what it comes down to.
With yourself. It's odd, though, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's still, we hear all this stuff about zone training, but actually it's bollocks, isn't it? You just have to run as hard as you can, surely.
Maybe that's what we're saying, yeah. Maybe that's what our brain's saying, yeah. Anyway.
Well, I'm going to progress with it. I'm going to continue running slowly to try and get that zone run. So, today I could run. I didn't have to stop very often in order to bring my heart rate back down, which is a great. 2 weeks ago, I could only run 100 meters before it would pop up above my zone, and I'd have to walk a bit.
Isn't that also a great part of it as well? Is you're experimenting with your body and seeing what your body can do. And even though me and Andrew are 60 this year, and even though we're old, your body can say, "Oh, right, I'll adapt to this thing that you're doing." It's just fantastic, and all the numbers and the data that you can get on your Garmin watch, not sponsored by Garmin.
Other brands available. Yeah.
Other brands available. You've got to say that's right. I find that the experimenting on one's own body and seeing the body shape change, is crazy. I never knew I wanted to look so skinny until I started running again.
Incredible, yeah. So I was just going to ask. I was going to ask Adam whether he had any changes planned. Like, are you going to buy any new gear or tech, or are you going to try doing some stretches and warm ups and warm downs? Now, I think you said you were going to try doing some of those things.
I did buy a heart rate, a chest band last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
So I've got a Polar
Yep.
H10 if I have the sponsorship going.
Other brands available.
Because I found that my Apple Watch wasn't actually providing the heart data that I needed. It wasn't accurate enough. I could go for a whole run and all of a sudden it would tell me everything had been run at 170.
Yeah, they're a little bit flaky off the wrist, I think.
So I bought this. I bought the heart rate monitor, and that seems to be going well. I have printed out a list of strength exercises that I should be doing on my non-running days. So things like squats and lunges and stuff, half raises and planks and Russian twists.
Russian twist, I find it all so boring.
So that's been on my desk for a couple of weeks now, and I haven't quite got around to.
Well, it's a start.
Stick on the radio. Stick on Radio 6 music or something, and just so that's what I do. Yeah, no, but that sounds excellent, Adam. So it sounds like you are.
That's my plan to do that. So that is the change in what I'm doing. Hydrating better is that's in motion. The stretching, I still don't know that I'm going to do that. I really.
So the couch to 5K, you walk, don't you? You walk a bit, and then at the end of the run, you walk. And I've done that every time, every run for 2 years. Touch wood, no injuries. I mean, I will get injuries, obviously. So I'm wondering whether that walk after is almost as good as a stretch. Andrew, your face is going to tell me that it's not, and I've got to stretch like a.
Yeah, I don't think that stretching has saved me or not saved me particularly. I think it's hard to know, isn't it? Ultimately, I think the regimes that I've been following have kind of protected me from most things, but not PF, plantar fasciitis.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you're right. A proper cool down is probably the best thing to do. So that walk afterwards is absolutely the right thing to do.
I quite like it as well because I can contemplate how brilliant I am at running and look at my Garmin and wonder what my stats are going to be, which is always nice. And of course, the endorphins are starting to kick in at that point, aren't they? Is it the endorphins? What are they? Dopamine? I don't know. One of those mins.
Endorphins, yeah, sure. No, you're starting to feel, you get the hit, absolutely.
Yeah. So I quite like
people that are walking towards you are recognising the fact that you've done a good run and are.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. Yeah. Yeah,
and you've got to look as if you've finished your run. That's it. Now, that is something that takes a little bit of practice. Not that you're in the middle of your run. You're finished. Yeah. And sort of nodding to yourself happily.
Do you sort of do eye contact and you nod?
Yes.
Piercing eye contact.
Yes.
Which isn't at all scary to people, I don't think.
Yeah, children run away, but that's the price they pay for their curiosity as to what, mummy, what's that red-faced man doing?
Yes. She's dialing 999 at this point.
No, I did have a car stop. So early on in my running journey, I sat down on a concrete block. So I wasn't even looking for something very comfortable. Put my head in my hands and had a few puffs. And a BMW stopped, and this adorable couple didn't get out, but one ran the window down, and she said, do you need taking anywhere? It's a sign of old age when the first time you've been asked if you want taking somewhere. And
so did they think you were lost and you'd come out of a sort of a local establishment? Or
They had that look of them. They were like, he doesn't look really old, but he really looks like he's dying. So, look, we're just going to have to approach this man because otherwise we'd feel terrible when he inevitably does die. It was that kind of look. And so they thought, are you deranged? Have you exercised too much? I mean, it's clearly something quite seriously wrong. It was that kind of inquiry because they didn't want me to go off at them and be cross and be sort of patronised, which it was patronising, but it was lovely. It was so nice of them to actually stop.
Lovely.
You can imagine how much I was glowing from the face for them to actually... It was BMW as well, so it was a car that could move. Do you want taking anywhere? And then I assured them, because I recovered relatively quickly, and said, no, it's absolutely fine. And then I got, are you absolutely sure?
So think of the state of their back seats if you'd actually got in. I mean, it would have been a swimming pool.
Well, God, if they had leather seats. I mean, it was a decent BMW. Anyway, sorry, Andrew, we're digressing.
I mean, I think we need to think about sort of slowly moving towards a wrap up. So I wanted to ask Adam the final question, which is, do you identify with run to live or live to run, Adam?
Oh, yes, classic.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. It's more run to live, I think. I'm at the stage now where I need to make sure that I'm got the best chances of lasting long enough to cause my pension company a little bit of discomfort.
Oh, beautifully put.
Yeah.
That is brilliantly put. Yeah, that's right.
Both.
I don't want to come out of this retirement pension fund thing the loser. I mean, I'll be dead as well. With another downer. But yeah. You want to be financially in the black from a pensions perspective. What a great way of putting it. God, what the age we're at.
Well, the pension companies probably want you to stop running, don't they? Actually, they probably want you to take up fags.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or certainly not in zone 2. They say you can only run, but in zone 7.
Yeah.
For this policy to play out.
With the heart rate in the high 300s, yeah.
If blood is coming out of your ear, you will give you your, Nice one.
Thank you, Adam, for spending the time chatting to us on our little podcast.
Well, thank you very much. It's been fun. It's been good to see the faces behind the sounds that I've been listening to on my runs recently.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's really good. It's great to hear that. Thanks ever so much. When you just hear this little story that you've done, this little bit of good, you just think, oh, it's not just me and Andrew being self-indulgent. It's like waking up the running spirit in every one of us. We should put you on the list for the next 10K we do. We've got a little group now together who do 10Ks together, which is quite a healthy little group of folk now, isn't it? Andrew had 14 at the last one. Anyway, if you ever fancy a 10K, we'd probably move up to half marathon at some point, maybe. I don't know.
It's sort of London-ish, isn't it? So we tend to do there's Olympic Park.
Oh yeah, of course, you're miles away.
It's a bit of a trek from Gloucester, but you could run from Gloucester to London and turn it into an ultra.
Stop in Reading, Winnersh.
But I have decided that half marathons are gone. 10K is my max from now on, I think.
Right.
10Ks.
Well,
10Ks
look us up if you're in. Yeah, we do tend to stay in London a bit, but that would be great. Yeah, lovely to meet you, Adam. Great job, Andrew, on the questioning. Very good. Anything else you want to touch on, Andrew?
Well, I just want to say thanks to you for that great theme. It's a great theme and a kind of a salient message. And the more I thought about it, the more I think I might be over controlling my own running a bit with all the fuss that I've had around my foot injury. And running, is a very complicated action. And if you try and think about how you run, it's a huge mess, because so much is going on. If you try and think, I'd lift this up and put that there and do this and land here, and then it's a huge problem, really, I think. And it leads to quite a mechanical gait. But then, because you have injuries and you want to try and fix them, it can be a problem to try and over control. So anyway, as I slowly recover my fitness, I will try and remember not to over control my running and just to keep relaxed and also try and manage the suffering too. So I'll keep these ideas in mind.
Yeah, that's a good
how about
one.
you?
You should have a thought for the day every time of yours, Andrew. I think mine would be I love pain and don't want to change a thing. But let's see. A couple of techniques there. Thank you, Adam. I'm definitely going to look at the mathematical distraction one and try and be a bit more zen. What a great chat. That's exactly what we need on this podcast. Thank you so much, Adam, for getting back in touch. Andrew, your calm wisdom, as ever, hits the spot. We'll see you on the next one. But for now, bye-bye.